Mike from the Patriot Hour here. Got a special one for you tonight, folks. We got Ben on the call again. And we got some interesting Q posts to break down. And if anything new happens to happen while we're doing this, we will jump right into that. Ben, how's it going tonight?
Pretty good, pretty good. I'm excited to be here for this another edition of Patriot Hour.
Glad to have you with us.
Glad to
have you with us tonight. A little bit about the Q clearance, Q Anonymous. What is your take on the whole general picture?
When you have some, you had broke down, I know, some of your one of your earlier videos on what is Q clearance, what is it involved, who do you have to be to get it, and the type of information you have around there. And when you have somebody who is posting on these 4chan and 8chan and they're spitting this out under the Q authority, and we've already broken down that even the president himself is giving off different signals. We broke down the hand signal and this kind of stuff, and so it's extremely intriguing. And again, you've said in other videos you have in the past where this is the biggest information dump directly to the masses ever in the history of intelligence dumps out there. And it's definitely interesting, and those of us in the community of wanting to know what's going on and at hand, and what's going on currently is this is just, it's almost like a treasure trove of information to go through, and there's so much crumbs out there, and we're definitely doing our best to pick through this and decipher it ourselves as it comes through time.
No, and exactly on that note right there, the biggest, most important, probably time in our lives, as far as, even during the election, we were getting lots of leaks through WikiLeaks and just tons of
many sources that were just sprinkling and dumping information out. It was that you're right, and that's crazy how the fact that many of sources through WikiLeaks were sitting there dumping this out and doing this, and all this information was coming, and it was almost like too much information was coming at once, not enough to decipher to get out. There was thousands of documents.
Too much to definitely get through by yourself in a short amount of time. It's a massive data dump that collectively, and you can filter stuff, but if you're looking for things, but definitely an interesting time, for sure, I would say.
Oh, I agree 100%. This is especially coming out when you've said in the past, and we have talked about it, on offline and even on other subjects, to where things that happened 4 and 5 years ago, or even in this last 2 years, at the time where it was really hard to put the links together, or find the connections, or piece the information together in the puzzle to make an overall current picture. Whereas now, with help of these Q posts, it's almost like it's giving those of us, if you will, who are on the hunt, a scent to go hunt after and do the best that we can to get this information to you guys out there, and just to see, even for ourselves, what the truth is, and let's get it out there as best we can with
so we could all
abilities that we have,
so we could all live truly free. And that's the whole thing. Even some of the Q posts, the president needs your help. We need to get this out there. We need to keep getting fill in the blanks and get the truth out there is basically, is what they're telling us to do. So it's a collective project. I think I'm so happy to be alive in this time right now and being able to, take part in this part of history, if you want to look at it that way, just to so I'm not going to let this pass me by without being on the forefront of it and doing my part and helping out. And if it's we were breaking that down, we're not going to be able to take down. We're not going to see as much as I would love to. Hillary Clinton, for example, put her hands out, or the Rothschilds, and they're going to be arrested on TV. If you look in the history books, folks, I believe sometimes, it comes to a head front. So there's got to be war. People have got to be conquered. If it's, it's getting a little deep for sure, but let's jump right in here, huh, Ben, on maybe one of these posts that we were wanting to look at today.
Exactly. Let's get into it for sure. Let's see what we can break down today.
All right, what were we? We're gonna look at like maybe post 8:15. Well, this is the photo, and I don't know. Do you believe in?
It's still so interesting. It's eerie. I mean, yeah. No, I believe in all preconceived, well-prepared preparations that favor victory. And it just every time I see this picture, I mean, look at her. This is definitely a backdrop. This is where you go to get your picture taken. I mean, we've seen many a times where you go to events and people, hey, let's take some pictures here. There's a backdrop, but still, it's like, what is the deal? What just happened? And then we see this happening coming up, like, coincidences. No, scary. I mean,
no, that's yeah. I mean, there's that smirk. Yeah.
You got to expand your thinking, according to Q, and according to a lot of other theories on thinking outside the box. There's more than one way to open up a lock without a key.
Well, I highly doubt that she, that she flew down there right after the incident, and this is what was, let's get a real quick photo, and I'm gonna smile, and that just seems a little.
What did Q tell us in the last
is a
post?
while ago.
What's more precious than our children? What does Q say? What's more precious than our children? Emotional pull, distraction event, gun grab event, de-security. Why would locals go along with such sick organized events? And you're seeing this right here. It's like, I mean, we see this kind of stuff, and we don't want to think this is truly happening. We don't want it in the heart of us because
no, folks, we
people
do not.
who have children, it's like, oh, we can't. How is this going on? Oh, this is an emotional pull, just like you said. She was coming out there.
You said on this post, what is it? What is it? There been. We'll just go
8/13 right in there exactly.
Yep, 8/13, February 23rd.
23rd.
18:29
hours, 18:30 or so. Yeah, exactly.
So
these people are sick.
Take that website
right there. Yeah.
We already have that pulled up right here. So here's that link, folks. We'll maybe make sure I put that in the description box below. So check that out down there, along with the Q post where we're going for that. But yeah, this article here, we took a minute earlier and read it before the show, and it is, folks. It's for Sandy Hook. 2012. This is articles from December 14th, 2014. Sandy Hook, 2 years later, where is the aid going? And, how are $17 million in federal grants that came into Newton after shooting being used? And if you look here, they just start talking about this money, and they took in, the federal grants are in addition to a $28 million that was raised by more than 77 charities. So they got, what was the total on that then, they were talking about it down here somewhere, but
like 45 million was the overall
45
total
million
that they got, but it was chunked down into certain parcels. But I mean, there's I believe on that website there was a nice little breakdown of where some of it had went to.
But much of the money from the school grants has gone directly into the new Sandy Hook Elementary School, which reopened, and in a vacant school in Monroe. 2 assistant principals were hired for 128,000. I'm imagining that's a year. 7 new substitute teachers were hired to assist the teaching staff. Security guards were added and more nursing hours. So it's like that doesn't equate to 45 mil. And then they just talk
Well,
about
we
it
just
being
know
held
that
up.
45 million has flowed into, that has flowed into Sandy Hook in the last 2 years. Now, where has that gone? Obviously we can, the state attorney general's office, according to the current.com, is that 15 million has been distributed, with the rest I earmark. I don't like saying that, but earmark for memorials and
Oh, yeah.
future mental health needs in the district. So why is there a big why is there a big mental health push? What's going on here? We've had mental health issues before, and we've known that, okay, this is a part of society. There are a very small percentage or a small fraction of our society overall that, yes, do have mental issues, and we do have programs and things in place for people like that. Autistic people who have a hard time socializing, this and that. Yes, we understand that, but
Well, and it's like the connection with Clinton, right? It's got to be deeper. They're saying like, again, he didn't, he was up on that stage with the NRA, Dana Loesch, and, had all the talking points of Hillary.
Yeah, it's almost like paired
was
what she
blaming
said,
the
and was
mental
like
health, like
blaming
you
Dana
said.
Loesch for everything.
And her support of, not blaming her personally, but that she's part of the problem because she's, but it's just funny, folks. And that is for sure. It's like, we would hate to say that, but it's what's being said in this data, the highest level of an intel that we're getting. So it's like all of our worst fears, folks. Is this the new
We're
kind
just,
of
we're
thing
just
that,
reporting what we're seeing here. Yes.
yeah, is this the new, they set up a school shooting.
New slush
It
fund?
really does
Yeah,
happen. People die.
This how they're, yes.
This is how they
Yeah,
cycle the
it's
money.
tragic.
A whole bunch comes in, very little really does, and over the next several years, everyone's kind of taking and getting, and you're like, oh, that's sick. People wouldn't do that, and it's just key people. It's just key.
No,
key
it doesn't
people,
go down
folks.
to that. It doesn't go down to that one person who's, I'm going for this party, or I'm going for that party, and I go to the local chapter of that party in my local town. I want to, make some banners, and I want to go, and I want to go raise, some money so we can get some more pamphlets out this next election and really get the word out. It's not one of those people. These are the high ups that we talked about compartmentalization.
Yes.
That it only takes a handful of people that have 98% of the power to do these things, to make these authorizations, to go this far. And these are the people that we're going after right now. These are the people who are coming out, and who's, with the, this memo coming out. And it's not so much the memo that came out, the power of it, but again, it just showed the corruption, the orchestrating between, one entity and another in our political realm, in our government, and that has nothing to do, in fact, subverts, we the people. And, this is coming out, and again, with what Q's saying and what he's doing, or he or she or the collective or whoever, who is doing these posts, is letting, your show and people like you and I, really get it out to where,
No, and you made a very good point there, Ben.
Stanislav Lunev was today. Never knew who he was until it was on this show.
Yeah. No, it's a very good point. The compartmentalization is a hard one for people to understand when you start going into this. Well, this group of people or this group over here, you got the FBI or this. Oh, you gotta, you mean to me, everyone in the military's involved or everyone in the. No, it's just sometimes a key few people, folks. This is how it works. It's a structure chain, the chain of command.
Chain of command. Yes,
It's,
yes.
you have 5,000 people sometimes under one guy that can, you don't question that. When that order comes down, you do not question that. That's like one of the first things you learn in the
Yeah,
military,
it's
right,
almost
Ben?
it's against military law. Exactly. You know, it's against
You can
military
be
law to
held,
go against any type
yeah,
of order or direct
direct
order
order.
unless it violates the Geneva Conventions. But even then, in the time of battle, we know that we'll
Watch
just
a
say
few good
that
men.
watch, yeah, exactly. I mean, they have movies about that kind of stuff. So I mean, I even as a a non-veteran or somebody who never served or never had any family members who served in the United States military, the armed forces in any nature, can watch movies and get a pretty good idea of. You can't just go out there and just go gung ho like the Rambo movies or these kind of things. No, we abide by laws, and that's why they're there to protect. The various situations of this active where you're not going to have this guy going out there. There's a chain of command, and if you don't follow that, then there is very, very, very strict rules and very harsh punishments.
You will be facing some articles of the UCMJ sometimes.
For sure. And so that's a huge, powerful thing. And even like we talked about getting it out now, it's like, now we have something to go off of and something to kind of project and with these Q posts and going up on there. And
If, like we
it's
said,
very interesting.
this is irrefutable. It's like, yes, in the past, I've wanted to talk about some of these things. We've had great discussions ourselves, people in all walks of life that we've met. And, sometimes, for years and years, it was just, but, in just a taboo area, you're labeled as such. You get in arguments with family members, get in arguments with friends, arguments with strangers,
Yeah, it's
labeled this,
that one word can yes.
and it's like, these people aren't stupid folks. They don't, go and do something bad and then hide the knife under their pillow. They get other people to do it, and then they have all kinds of 6 ways of separation of plausible deniability. They are lawyers most of the time, every damn one of them, and they, for like perfect example, like Hillary Clinton, really, really smart, knew enough back in '09 to want to have a server set up so nothing was funneling through the governments. And I mean, folks, Ben himself, we've had the clearances and we've had access to machines, and you go through the training and, you sign up, you do you just, when you leave the government, if you want your personal emails or something that you might have used in the time frame that you were on government time, you had to go knock on their door, put in paperwork, request it, let them take 6 to 8 months and get back to you, and then possibly release you what they think was deemable for you to have
exactly.
back.
I mean, it was
In this case,
heavy paperwork just to do anything.
she left. 2-3 years goes by. She's not Secretary of State anymore. The government goes to look at this stuff. They realize they don't even have it. And this is for the history books. I mean, she did this to foil, all the FOIA requests that comes in by places like the good old people over at, Tom Fenton, from Patriot or Judicial Watch. My
Justice Watch.
I was going to say the Patriot Hour, but he's not on. Yeah. So Judicial Watch,
now.
and yeah. So people like that, she was trying to avoid having to ever disclose anything and delay requests by years. And then now, but this is stuff for the history books, folks. When people come into government, take on a position and do their job 4 years, 8 years, there's things that are made and archived. It's ours. It's not yours. It's you come in, you do
It's we
your
the
bit.
people. It's for the people. Yes.
So if you disagree with that, you're just wrong. Honestly, on that, right? I mean, you're wrong to think you have any. So, not to beat a dead horse on that, but we are. So look into that. We're gonna keep looking into this ourselves. This picture of this, Sheriff Scott Israel.
Yep.
So, yeah, why school shootings, folks? What is more precious than our children? Emotional pull, distraction event, gun grab event. I mean, they're doing it all. And then they come in and they set up all this stuff. The funding comes in, and then people get rich. It's sick, is what he's saying. Follow the money, and it's always about the money. Now, all these people that got a, whole bunch of money, the people that are supposed to be empowered to be able to cover them aren't. And that's why this whole little thing's falling apart on them.
Yeah, yeah, and it's starting to kind of the gears are starting to mesh, and they're not supposed to, they're coming off the rails, or however you want to put it, and it's like, that last one, 817 right there, it's what's going on here, they can't control the disinformation coming out enough. It's leaking out at all corners,
Analyze the shooter.
Nice.
He was a pawn, right? Voices in his head. We know. We're taking action behind the scenes. CNN.
Now, was that from the MK Ultra that was mentioned in the earlier Q post that, voices in his head? I mean, were we talking?
Well, think about meds
there's
beyond cure and, what was it? We can go back to that, folks. But the whole thing is, as much as I'd love to sit here and Ben and some of my other buddies that are involved in the Patriot Hour channel and good old fellows, man, we could, smart, intelligent folks, all right, and we have done our research and we know, but it's like we don't have time to go over everything and teach you everything about everything. There's just not enough time left, I don't think. I mean,
no, I agree with you. Now you had that, you had a legend, a breakdown of all
Yes,
the acronyms. That was something that I know we had talked about. That was kind of huge to some of the listeners. I think had wrote in or had emailed you about, what's going on. What is this? What are some of these codes out there? I know there's
Yeah, I
speaking
came
in
across
codes.
this.
What does this mean?
So this is, it is a legend.
And that was
Let me bring it
something
over
that
here.
you were, yep, there you go.
Oops. There it is. Merge. All right. So this is a legend, folks. It's out there. Where we got it from, it is no longer. See, the issue is here. If you know what. Q started off on 4chan. 4chan got compromised, and then he went over to 8chan. And then after, a month and a half or so there, he created the Great Awakening. So there's this whole own website that he's got, these drips, crumbs coming out. People have compiled a very good list of, acronyms and just a sequence chart and breakdown so far. It's not 100%. There's always new things coming out. So, but yeah, like Ben said, this is a very good chart. Most of some of the posts are very easy verbatim words. Just it is what it is. You can read it for what it is.
It's pretty, it's very self-explanatory on a lot of this stuff. Some of it's,
some get very
you're right,
cryptic
it's out
looking
there.
or to people. But honestly, folks, if you stop and just read it and look at them, HRC, Hillary Rodham Clinton, FBI, DOJ, it's a lot of it. SA though, that's Saudi Arabia. You got USSS, that's United States Secret Service. WW.
The stringer
World War.
keywords, sky, years, green, 0600, I mean, we're talking,
MS-13,
if people
Latino drug cartel.
aren't aware of
Las Vegas,
exactly,
LV. LDR, Lord de Rothschild. Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if I should make that a little bigger. Can you see it decently?
Make a little Nasser. There you go.
How's
A little
that?
fill the screen and then pull it over. That's a lot better. Yeah, that looks pretty good.
All right. So just to get a glimpse, you guys can probably go out there and find
I
this
like
out
the
there somewhere.
definitions and the acronyms. That's great, you know.
Yep, little sequence chart.
So it's little things like this to where when we're reading the Q post, if there's something that comes up that we don't either already haven't seen off of the acronym legend that Mike's showing you now, or you know, or self-explanatory within the posts, this is a great tool to have if you're just kind of, you know, because a lot of people, you know, don't know all the players involved, or not even that, don't even know their full names, you know, and so in this, you know, this legend of the different acronyms and, you know, everything from John Kerry, or it could be Jared Kushner, or it could be this, or it could mean that, you know, I mean, so we don't know what some of these things are, and this is just another good tool to have when you're going through this stuff to kind of give you a bigger picture of what you're looking at, so the information can be, I guess, better
Digested,
analyzed, I guess,
and
for
chewed up,
digested.
and
Yes,
you know, you
you're
gotta.
trying to, like anything in life, you know, you want to chew the meat and spit the bones out. But we're discovering that in a lot of these Q posts, there's not much bones to be thrown out. It's a lot of meat here, and so again, we're definitely hungry on what we're doing here. And
You guys got
you know,
any,
it's
you know, good tools or, you know, ideas? Like you said, drop a comment, subscribe, you know, let us know about it. Give, you know, email if you feel more comfortable. All right, so where were we at? We were coming off this one, analyze a shooter. Yeah, we, you know, so then we come over here and he reposts what, you know, Q takes his own post from 817 down here and repost it, of course. What's he saying
libel
here?
laws. Who's
Libel
liable?
laws.
And you know, so who's liable for this kind of action? You know, you know, people. You know, we're hearing rumors on, you know, from some news channels on the other counties over that there was possibly officers already at the scene, you know, you know, before the shooting and while, and nothing was happening. And so again, it's all conjecture and rumors, and there's no that we know of at this moment in time that we have, you know, solid evidence. And when we get that, obviously you guys are gonna be the first to know about it. But you know, who do we hold liable for this, you know, or who is orchestrating this? Like we said, you know, that picture of, you know, of Hillary Rodham Clinton, you know, doing a nice handshake with Sheriff Israel. It's just very interesting, you know, no coincidences.
Yeah, I'm not a firm believer in that either. The coincidences, it just becomes a little too much sometimes. So, yeah, we'll keep our eyes out for that one, folks. No coincidences. Expand your thinking, right? Q. So you got the Trump warns world of very, very unfortunate phase 2 if North Korean sanctions fail.
And we know what's been happening with North Korea for the longest time now. We know they've been doing, you know, ICBM missile testings, which is intercontinental, you know, ballistic, you know, missile. And so what does that mean, intercontinental? That means they can fly a really long ways for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, they're testing that stuff, you know, for what? Is it a show of force that most countries do, and it has been going on? You know, we got guns, you got guns, our guns are big, so are yours, and therefore your guns and our guns are going to make sure peace is good because we all got guns in case anything happens. You know, that kind of stuff. Which we've seen that before as well. You know, it's the buildup of arms and then the strategic, you know, down building or degrading of, you know, nuclear arms, and, you know, a lot of that was dismantled when the Soviet Union fell. A lot of It's tragedy, man, because a lot of the stuff that the Q posts are alluding to are things that happened in our recent past, but then in the great past as well. And a lot of people don't know about this stuff. This isn't stuff you get traditionally in, the public schools. This isn't the stuff you don't, know what this kind of stuff. And this is really unfortunate that, we're having to, go over this kind of stuff and think, oh, yep, this happened in the past and this time this, and, and it's coming out. And I mean, we're very thankful and very excited we can bring this to you because, we do believe that 2018 is going to be a great year. It's going to be, and we do agree with the Q post on that as well.
Yeah, folks, this is, and then to finish out these, we went over the new ones earlier today, the 3 new ones, and this kind of these, looks like there was some hacking going on, something going on against the Great Awakening channel, because they're talking about all these codes and set rec and brute force will be necessary, T2 warning, comms off. Yep. So comms
Now,
good,
did we go
nice
over,
try. So it was like the CIA or somebody. There is a war going on for sure.
Yeah,
on that
they're
level.
doing brute force attack. What are they? They're doing, Mac spoofing. They're doing some type of, kitty scripting on the, on the back end, trying to cut this off to where, they didn't want us getting this information. And of course, with any, brute
Check
force
code
attack or any of those type of you can have everything else, But what do we say? Comms good, nice try.
Yeah.
Now, did we talk about the Stanislav Luniv?
Yeah, we did that earlier
Did we go to
today.
the latest post? Okay.
But still,
That was
we
right. I still want to know what the bridge is, though. Like
Yeah, we're
this is
still-
something that I still.
it's,
We've heard there's been a couple suggestions in the suggestions about what it could be and what it is. I know there's a TV show, but that's kind of neither here nor there. It is interesting, and then of course what you're pulling up now.
yeah,
Is
that
the,
was pretty. Let me move my camera off, and then over here. But yeah, an anonymous poster. But hey, this is just one I came across. Me and Ben were talking about. I was like, hey, check out 205 because it's a little older. One that's kind of gone away. It's far back, but it's death to. What has he got? Triumvirate,
Triumvirate.
Triumvirate.
Yep.
Picture of his, fake. Q is fake. DTTT. This is what this anonymous poster. Back then, it would have been.
What is that? What
was
is your
8chan. I think he was on
what is your
8chan.
acronym?
For
Is that 8chan?
well, this isn't Q. This was a.
Oh no, this is just
This is a
anonymous.
guy,
Oh, I see
anonymous.
what you're
Yeah.
saying.
So
Sorry,
it was like an anonymous poster off. I think in
Another
November they were on
Anon, yeah,
8chan.
understand.
Yeah, another Anon. So, and he's like smashing, does that and says Q's fake, and then Q is like, you made the list. It's rare. Feel proud.
It's rare. Feel proud.
Pick up your phone. Q.
Up your phone. Yeah, so what is
And
that?
I can
You pick up your
imagine.
phone, like once you read this.
Yeah.
Yeah, like oh my gosh, like click up
Can
my
you
phone.
imagine,
give them 3
you
clicks.
all- you
click,
know,
click,
you're-
click, click.
You look down at your phone and it just says Q, and it's like ringing. I mean, that's nuts. That's not, It's like, geez,
Definitely one of the movies,
4.9 billion in government subsidies. Why? Question mark. I mean, that just sounds like
yeah.
Trump.
Yeah, no, yeah.
That's crazy. All right, no.
And and of course, in that same stuff, it is interesting. It's exciting to talk about this kind of stuff.
No, it's a good time to be alive, folks. I mean, it always is. But honestly, it's given me a little oomph back in my life. A little, you lose faith. We served our government. I went on to doing government contract work for several years, and you see the corruption unfold on TV, or some possible good journalists doing their jobs out there and actually doing what you're supposed to do and investigate and report, but And then you start seeing these leaks like on the Q, that Q's dropping about the CIA, and they've embedded journalists, and we've all known this to be true. And we just,
Yes,
you
yeah.
try to ignore it, and you hope that, oh no, that was back in the day. They did it back then. They don't do it now. And that's a reason they delay all these classified docs in 20, 30, 40 years. And it's like, give us in there. They want to make sure everyone's separated and gone and passed away. And then it's like, well, this is the old way we used to operate. You can't blame us for these people that are dead now. And, but you covered for them the whole time. You let them receive their government pensions and taxpayers' dollars to help them live prosperously till they're 95 and pass away. And then it's like, well, that wasn't us. And yeah, it's just hard to take anything away from idiots once they get it. It's the bottom line.
And it's hard because a lot of what you're talking about, it deals with, what did Hitler say? Make a lie, tell it, tell it, make it
Say it.
big, and keep on repeating it over and over again, and it will be truth. And it is hard because you're almost trying to get across somebody's, their cognitive dissonance. That can't be true. That's not true. That can never be true. It's like, no, this is happening right now, and how do you break something this big? This is huge. I mean, some of these posts are the early ones, and even the mid-level early ones are coming through and saying some things that are really causing you to question, things like bringing up, there's spiritual warfare for sure. They're bringing up things like who is Moloch and, sacrificing babies. And this is some crazy stuff that they're saying. And most people have no idea on, that this is still happening in the 21st century. This is not something that happened, like you said, a long time ago. And that happened a long time ago. And they had people embedded in the mainstream narrative, and they were making it look like it was something else, but they really wanted this to happen. And we're very much so clear about the Hegelian dialectic of, create the problem, create the solution, and you have the final output. That's what you want. And so it's like, we're trying to break out of that, that never-ending cycle of they create the problem, and and of course it's the whole ubiquitous they, whoever, the people, but, they create the problem. They offer us, a solution. We take it, another problem, another solution. It's ongoing. And how do you break that without looking at something like this and saying, no, man, it gets deep. It's our elderly, our children. It's everybody. Everybody's involved. And it's almost like this is huge, and it goes all the way. And now, I mean, the information we're getting, who is Q, who is the collective, who he or she, the collective is, but they're breaking down information that's coming straight from, I would have to assume, and again, it's only merely an opinion, that it's coming from the very top, because this information is too juicy, you know what I'm saying, when it comes in what they're saying. And this is amazing stuff that's coming out. And the
definitely.
amount of information coming out.
It's like they're saying, it's a storm. The storm that was on the horizon for a long time. Who better to? And this is my own, some, theories for sure, but I'll put them out there a little bit. It's just, and probably a little bit more, me wanting it to be this way. That possibly, we have a president that took a lot of time to research. If somebody was going to ever have a chance in this day and age, folks, to take down a system that is embedded with what we're kind of seeing come out now, possible pedophiles and sex rings and just murder for hire or creating wars or just really lining their pockets. Like we said, we're not going to see these people literally get, handcuffed on TV. They're going to fight all the way down. If you look at the history books, this is how it's always happened. And the leaked, CIA paperwork I went over in another video. I mean, they're showing that, you got people going through these intel systems like the CIA school, and when they get down, say, hey, you're going to be a reporter for us or a journalist, and we got you embedded over here, and you're going to help us disinform. When anything comes close to showing our true colors, you're going to lead them off in a path over here, or we're going to help. And I think they've gotten to the point of creating issues to take place because not enough happen, folks. Honestly, I mean, we've said it. Anything. There are bad people. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that, but sometimes, it's like, why was this Scott, Israel, and the people holding off for 5 to 6 minutes, like they were saying, 4 minutes outside the doors, listening to the gunshots? Was it not enough yet? Was it, if it was an orchestrated thing? And I don't.
I mean, again, that's at this point, it's a lot of it's hearsay. It did happen, yes.
We're not saying
it's
that.
like, of course not. And I know, of course, this was a tragic event, and unfortunately, when we're hearing this kind of stuff, even
anything that happens is orchestrated. I mean, anything that happens, the kid had to orchestrate it.
Two people are conspiring. Yeah, you either orchestrate with yourself, you conspire with yourself, or you conspire with somebody else. To do an event.
If he sat there and gave all the signs for months and months, so that's what they're saying. And again,
By the way. When you were talking about, that what Trump had took that picture and was in the calm before your storm, this really ties in almost on a military level. But that Trump was hosting a dinner with military officials and their spouses in the Blue Room of the White House, and that's kind of where they got the pictures from. And then those in attendance, now this is according to the Huffington Post, included, General Joseph Donford, Chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff, and General Paul Selva, Vice Chairman of the Joint Chiefs. So a lot of these people that you were talking about when the storm is coming, these are the big movers and shakers. And like you're talking about now, this is huge. This is, they say, oh, this is life changing, and in many aspects it is, because for all your life you thought that. Many people assume that the FBI and these people they're here to protect us, and we all function. I mean, I function right now. You function in society that if I go down the street, I get hit by a vehicle and I get injured, that the police are going to come to secure the area so nobody else gets injured, and I'm carried off by an ambulance. We have to have civil civility, I guess, if you will, in our society. Yes, and it gets hokey pokey when they don't do what they're supposed to do and or what we voted them in to do, type thing. And so this is where it's this is a storm of sorts coming.
Like we said, if somebody ever had a chance to if somebody was even going to attempt to take down the most, if there's crooked, bad, evil doers doing things. And that's what WikiLeaks came out, if we remember, Ben, like, we were back in, going through some security tech courses and Linux and some other things. But WikiLeaks came out. And they said, I'm trying to remember the statement, but it was similar to, and I just wanted to be correct on that, but it was like they put a warning out to all governments around the globe. If you're in a position of power, if you're like a police official, in any government, state, local, around the globe, if you're in a position of power, basically, and you're screwing people over, doing them wrong, lying, cheating, taking money, making them poor while you line your own pockets, committing, crimes against humanity, they're going to expose you. And they also gave the warning to the pedophiles, so it's like they gave a fair warning way back then, and that's what they've been doing since. So if somebody had a chance or was going to go in to try to even topple something, you'd think you'd know it inside and out. It's just like, and I think the whole tweeting thing, for Trump, it was just a way for him to get out what he wants. We know that. It was like he tweets at 4 a.m. The news wakes up to his
yes, to
tweet.
get
That is the
directly out
news.
to the public.
The news
Exactly.
is
That
his
is
tweet, So
Yeah,
it's,
because you don't. We're not creating news. You want to report it. And that's the problem with the mainstream narrative is they're trying to. Why was he up at, or why was this person up at this, 4 o'clock in the morning? That's not right. They should be sleeping.
and then
No,
all
who
I've
cares about
heard,
why this is.
like all I've heard is like, Trump's like, he'll tweet, and then, you got like the news, Chris Cumio, for example, come out and, we just, breaking news this morning, folks. Trump tweeted at 4 a.m. and for this particular example, it was like, I've just found out Obama spied on me and my campaign. How horrible or treasonous, whatever the tweet was. And then Kumo's like, absolutely no proof of this, folks, as we're waking up at 6 a.m. on this certain day. And we'll go out there and be a journalist and investigate it and find out if it was true instead of sitting there saying, well,
Exactly.
and then 5 months later, folks, it wasn't that, it was a lie. It was, now we find out Trump was wrong, folks. It wasn't him. It was this guy next to him and this other guy. It wasn't Trump, and Trump's tweet said it was him. So we now know Trump was wrong. No, he was just, so they keep spinning and spinning. We get it. But that's the game, folks. That's what these CIA shills that are embedded into the media do. They're really good at it. It's word warfare.
Well,
That's what they study. They're not studying. They're not a weapons expert. They're a words expert, a word ninja, a word guru.
That's exactly what they're doing, and they can spin what you are hearing to a point of you believe everything.
If you pay attention close enough, I come out of my chair sometimes.
They want you weak. They want
like,
you.
Are they an alien?
According to Q, they want
Are
you
they
weak.
listening? This other guy, he said something really good, and then all of a sudden you just see sometimes and then they jump off subject because they realize they've been, that
You
guy
can
is
see
a
their
word ninja
agenda,
too.
or who's ever they're poking their agenda, or logically you would
This
say,
is
well, of course not. I
psychological
don't any
warfare stuff,
but it is
folks.
like, well, it's they're playing this game of, well, I'm just saying, like, no, anybody who's logically thinking about the situation, is gonna say hypothetically, like, it's this. And because their agenda, they're so embedded in their agenda, they have to react, and their answer is coming straight from the agenda or from who they're having to serve. I mean, it's these people you see, Q-tails at CNN, was set up. This is fake. Clowns revealed. I mean, it's almost like, these little breadcrumbs throughout the post he's been posting has been alluding to, like, what you're watching right now on your device. This is one of the tools they use to get their agenda across, and this tool can be used for good or it can be used for evil. I mean, I think that's the, we were talking a while ago, and it's like, I don't know if you can find that meme that you had looked at that had something that, you don't blame the gun. It's almost like, when a drunk driver, gets convicted of DUI, they blame the person. When a bomb maker makes a bomb and the bomb goes off and kills people, they blame the bomb maker. When a guy goes in there and kills a bunch of people with a gun, they blame the gun.
Yeah.
That's the narrative that we're going on now. It's like, no, this is, of course, it's a tool. It can be used for good or for bad. And with what we're getting across to you guys, and we're trying to use this as a tool for good right now, get you across on the information, and be very careful about going and watching the mainstream narrative and taking that and running with it as being the solid truth. And a lot of this stuff, don't believe us. Look it up for yourself. There's out there where this is out there. I think Mike has said it many times where This is information that's out there for everybody to get. Get excited about this stuff, about learning about things that nobody ever in the history of our government has been able to get their hands on this much declassified information to the public. And, again, we can't do everything ourselves and go everything over every single Q post and know everything and break everything down. That's why it's got to be a collective of us. And, even, with what's going on in these posts, it says many, many times about, we need patrons, not patrons, excuse me, but, you need patriots, these are the kind of patriots, who we need, it's not about, what you stand for in this, and you're like, oh, well, let's try this. It's like, no, let's get back to the Constitution, and let's use that as a frame of reference. Like, it's the Constitution. And then from there, let's go from there. Is it constitutionally right? Cool. Okay, if it is, all right, let's go on from there. And I think that's what it needs to get back to, and that's why, I'm proud to be a patriot myself, and that's, I'm a person
I'm right there with you. I'm going to say that as well.
In the interest of devotion, and I think we both defend our individual rights against any presumed, interference of federal government or anything like that. I think, we believe in God and country, and that's, people are very, very timid to stand up about that, or much know about what your constitutional rights are and what it means to be we the people, and to have somebody talk about, this is for the people. And that's why, you said earlier, that's why it makes me give hope about Trump, about he's talking about, well, this is not good for America. This is not good for the people. And I'm like, and I'm part of the people. So
I'm 100% with you on that one, brother. I agree that it's like we are receiving the highest intelligence, the highest amount of information to have ever just been. It's still coming. In the last several years, we've been all really, the light has come on in the dark room, so to say. We've all been illuminated quite a bit. And that's huge. And to me, it's like all my research, 15, 17 plus years of it, really intensive the last 10, super intensive the last 5. It's all, being kind of confirmed through the postings, and it's a lot to take in. And now you got people kind of really coming around that haven't before, and and it's like there's so many different arms and branches of this thing that we're at the tip of it with this stuff, and it's really hard for some people to just come out of nowhere and come to this tipping point of information that's being, disseminated downward.
it could be too much information, of course. Yes.
Exactly. So that's why we're doing what we can. On that point, like we said, the calm before the storm. The storm is coming. So I'm going to take it back to a little video that we found and we were talking about. This was like right beforehand. Do you have a date? Did we find a date or anything on that?
I'm trying to.
Thursday,
what account was it?
Okay, this is like October 6th of 2017.
October 4th or 5th?
So October 6th
20, yep.
of 2017, folks. Now, if you remember, Q's first post was like the 27th. So, let me get this queued up in here. I'll play this here.
That's what it is, say October.
You guys know what this represents?
Well,
Maybe it's the calm before the storm.
what's the storming?
Could be the calm before the storm.
What storm is
We
the
have the
president?
world's great military people in this room, I will tell you that. And we'll have a great evening. Thank you all for coming. Thank you.
What storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
Give us a hint on your
On
answer.
ISIS?
Thank you, everybody.
Okay,
we have had challenges that
So there you go, folks. I just found that to be kind of
Wasn't it pretty soon after that you started seeing couple weeks after that, was it maybe a Q post was starting to?
That's what I was saying,
some of the
yeah,
first Q
about 2
posts were
weeks,
in late
2
October,
weeks.
weren't they?
Yeah, that's when the you know, and the storm is us, folks. If you haven't figured it out yet, I think, you know, they're trying to get us all up to par. How can you start, even if we talk about arresting? If you know, if you're going to even start arresting people, you got to expose them first. How can you very well start arresting without exposing and getting the people? If you know, lots of people wanted to see Trump just get elected, come in and start arresting Hillary and all these people, but you have a big portion of the population that was still for her, and if you didn't show what they did because they hid it so well, then you're gonna have people thinking that this other person's the bad guy and doing things that shouldn't be done. I mean, is that correct, Ben? Or
No, I would agree with that. You know, this is going on to when you're talking about exactly how things are done. You know, it's almost like, you know, you can almost paint a picture based solely on the questions asked. You know, it's I don't want to use the word false flag because it's not really, that's not the proper description, but it's almost like it's hard to explain a whole entire event from just one little blip, and that's it. Bloop, you know. And I'm trying to I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain, I guess. I don't know.
it is. It's
I think that's the beauty of why we're going over all of this and balancing these things off and coming across. And I mean, there's some of these, you know.
well, we're learning too,
Does
folks.
it stick? You know.
That's the whole thing.
You know,
we're learning too. I wanted to take a second on that note too, just to say, I'm learning, folks. I have tons of information. I'm not gonna just, you know, but I have things I'm trying to run here. Also, I've had a couple people close to me that know me really well. Like, well, gosh, you do so much better talking when you're talking to me in your garage. And I'm like, well, yeah, you know, but I'm up here trying to run computer. That's why we got people, certain shows, and just lots of people have schedules and stuff. So bear with me on that. I'm getting better. I'm learning every day. So we can only get better. But like I said, leave a comment on that if you know, let us know what you think. Why don't you got some final thoughts, Ben? You know, take a minute here to give a final thought for today's episode, or what you would like to see.
I would say a closing on a hope for sure, man. Because I mean, I think people, if you just, you know, one, be a patriot, man, and do the right thing. And I think, you know, it's, you know, watch, you know, shows like, you know, like the Patriot Hour, and there's other truthers out there who really are getting it out there, and don't, you know, and take a stand for yourself. Do some research. Don't believe us. Do the research on your own. And, you know, and if there's parts that, you know, you want to comment on. And, you know, if there's something you want to see us cover in the future episodes, you know, leave a comment as well. Definitely. Hey, you know, like, share, subscribe, thumb, you know, all that good stuff. So.
Nope, and that's what I'm going to end it on that as well. Just good evening, Patriots, fellow Patriots. Tune back in, subscribe, please. You heard it from Ben. Great guy. He'll be back. He's involved. We've been doing some talking, so we got plans for big things this year, and we're here for you just to keep giving you the information. As you know, we learn more, we'll give you more. We can go backwards, and we might do that, you know, but we're at a forefront now. It's like the time for that. I'm not, you know, I don't have any dates or anything to give you, folks. I'm not that kind of person. I'm just saying everything has been leading up to something. So I think we're at the
every day there should be new drops for sure that, you know, they'll come to you. You know, I'm pretty sure, you know, every day, Mike, you're going to kind of come to him as best as your ability and as best as the Patriot Hour can, disseminate this information coming to you. As I mean, like you said before, you're one man, but I'm excited for the future, and I think it's going to be good for sure. So.
No,
Definitely.
and
Thank you for having me on, and look forward to next, definitely future episodes.
well, there you heard it, folks, from Ben, Patriot, veteran, good all-around guy, knowledgeable, knows his stuff, and he will be back on. He's going to be, co-hosting. He's going to be big part. He knows how to get the information and get it out there, and that's the kind of help we need. And again, coming up here in a few days, we're going to have the Patriot Hour weekly show again. You'll see Scott again, and hopefully Ben can join, whether it's this way or if he can be in studio, if he's actually going to be in town. So other than that, I'm Mike from the Patriot Hour. We're going to go and do a little bit more research, and if there's anything else that happens here in the next several hours and I'm still up, we'll do something. If not, look for us tomorrow. Subscribe, description box for some of the info, and God bless, folks, and good night.